Our Sovol SV08 Max is getting some serious upgrades. The next couple of videos about this printer will cover all the improvements and fixes we've applied over the last month or two. We'll install all the replacement parts Sovol sent us for the ones we broke. We will get the auxiliary feeder system working, which even after an adventurous installation only seemed to grind filament until we finally managed to fix it. We will install an upgraded touchscreen and achieve a perfectly silenced idle mode. We'll show off a very practical and aesthetic top riser thanks to our new collaboration with PCBWay. And we'll even dive into a complete structural overhaul, new lighting, and a major software change. How much of all that we will fit into this video? Watch till the end to find out. I'm gerGO, and this is gerGO Print 3D, the YouTube channel where my little nephew Levi and I share all the adventures we have with our 3D printers and laser machines. This is our 5th video where the Max makes an appearance, but we are having fun with many other Sovol devices and other brands, so be sure to check out our extensive back catalog. YouTube is now auto-dubbing our videos, so many of you will be able to watch in your own language. Before we get into the rest of the upgrades, there is one we can only tease today. In a recent video, Levi and I built the enclosure Sovol sent for our Max. It's a stunningly good-looking case, but contrary to Sovol's claim of only taking away 100 millimeters of Z-height, we found it actually limits the build height by a pretty substantial 150 millimeters. I've been playing around with various riser designs, but my current favorite is a combination of 3D printed and laser cut acrylic parts. The design is a great play on the word light. The transparent acrylic lets plenty of light in, and it makes the entire riser incredibly lightweight. Now, don't be discouraged if you don't have a CO2 laser capable of cutting the transparent acrylic. I don't have a machine big enough for it either, but this is where our new sponsor, PCBWay, comes into the picture. While their name screams printed circuit boards, they can also turn your laser cutting, metalworking, and even specialized 3D printing ideas into reality. I just uploaded my design to their website, selected the material and finish, and got a quote instantaneously. PCBWay expands the range of DIY projects we can tackle almost infinitely, saving us from having to own expensive and rarely needed machines. They complete laser cut projects like this in a matter of weeks, so we'll be able to take you through the installation of this top riser in a follow-up video very soon. If you want to get a head start, you can order your custom cut acrylic panels ahead of time. I've published my designs on Cult3D. I would, however, hold off on printing the 3D printed parts until mine arrives and I have a chance to update the files to perfectly match the laser cut pieces. You'll also need some screws and heat set inserts, which I link on AliExpress.
A lovely cheese pizza just for me.
Our pizza box had something else inside, a replacement PEI sheet for the one I managed to scratch up during testing, with a bunch of exciting toppings. For one, Sovol sent us a replacement hotend, so I was able to return the one I borrowed from the identical tool head of our Sovol Zero. We've missed having the little Zero around for far too long. But as you've seen in our last video, it's happily back in action. Next, we got that rear part cooling fan that was accidentally missing from our beta unit. My initial homebrew replacement attempts are actually what led to scratching the build plate in the first place. I eventually borrowed the almost identical rear cooler from our regular size SV08, temporarily taking that printer out of commission as well. But now it's also back to churning out our unique laser cut and 3D printed pins and colorful picture frames for the summer camp we attended last week with Levi. To protect your build plate from similar mishaps, I recommend following 3D Print Demon's excellent advice to raise the nozzle cleaner by adding a few washers underneath it and adjusting this line of the nozzle cleaning macro in macros CFG. This way, even if there's a problem with homing, the nozzle will never be instructed to move below the build surface. What else was in the box? A set of these 2040 extrusions, which replaced the 2020 ones in the base of our early beta unit. In their testing, Sovol found these provide much higher rigidity. We are very curious to see the upgrade in print quality, but it requires an almost complete rebuild of the machine and likely even more machined parts from PCB way. So that's going to be a very educational project, which we'll cover in a later video. Don't worry though, your production machine will already have this beefier frame in its base. The HDMI screen came in a separate package. It's not only identical to the one Sovol offers for the SV08 and 0, but it's also incompatible with the existing mounting points on the Max. I could have designed the replacement case since the supplied one is also 3D printed, but I ended up designing this little adapter instead. It provides the necessary clearance for the enclosure doors and also angles the screen similar to the stock one. This screen upgrade is highly recommended, by the way. The one included with the Max offers puzzlingly limited functionality, even if Sovol manages to iron out its long list of software bugs by the time production units ship. The standard Clipper UI gives you access to all your macros, fans, lights, camera, file system, and even the console. Unless you plan to control the printer exclusively remotely, this upgrade is a must. My mounting adapter is also available on Calls 3D. The last production upgrade was the filament feeder unit, which has an adventurous and very educational story. But before I tell you all about it, let me ask for a small favor. See that like button down there? If you only see the outline, please consider clicking it to fill it with color. See? It looks so much better that way. Thank you for all your support. This auxiliary feeder was a very welcome upgrade, one that Levi had been eagerly waiting for. You see, a large printer like the Max necessitates a very long filament path, where feeding filament by hand is not only a hassle, but also puts a lot of strain on the printer's extruder. As we showed in our first prints video, having the spool on the top also limited the build height by a few millimeters, so I was excited to install this upgrade. Was our excitement premature? Definitely. We had to overcome an unusually long list of obstacles before we could enjoy the benefits of this auxiliary feeder. First, it arrived without any cables. It connects to one of the 4 CAN bus ports on the main board, but the specialized cable was missing from our pizza box. Our friends at Sovol promised to send it ASAP, and at the same time they also provided us with the pinout so I could hack together a makeshift one, which also turned out to be comically long. We'll only need it to be about 1 meter or even shorter, but as you can see, the official one comes in 2 parts, so you can easily unplug it without needing to flip the printer over to access the controller board. The upgraded filament system also needs more PTFE tubing. At first, I just extended the beta tubing, but I eventually replaced the whole path with this ID3 OD4 I found on AliExpress, which has a more spacious inner diameter to reduce friction, while keeping the same outer diameter to fit existing couplers. As a consequence, the walls are thinner, so we'll see how long it lasts. In any case, the link is in the description below. Even with this fix, the auxiliary feeder didn't feel strong enough to overcome the friction along the meandering filament path. To reduce friction even further, I even moved the spool glider core over here, which we presented in our SV08 upgrade video a few months ago. Still, the filament kept getting stuck and the PTFE tube was full of filament dust and debris Levi mentioned in our enclosure video.
It has some poop inside.
Yeah. Our auxiliary feeding system was acting more like a filament grinder than a helper. The new mini vacuum we got from Haro was very handy for cleaning up this dust as I took the feeder apart, because I was becoming suspicious that something was wrong with our particular unit. At first, I only noticed the screws holding the motor inside were loose. Just like almost every other screw in this printer, these two were missing any Loctite, which I promptly added. It got a little better, but still a grinder. Upon closer inspection, I discovered the culprit. One of the tiny MR63 bearings was missing from the lever that presses the idler against the drive gear. Without that bearing, the two gears don't align properly and end up biting into the filament. And no, it wasn't in the dust compartment of the little hot tub vacuum. Being such a handy little device, it was easy to check. I also reviewed my footage of the first disassembly, and the bearing was already missing. Still, it's a reminder to watch out for this tiny component if you ever need to take the feeder apart. I quickly ordered replacement bearings from AliExpress, less than 32 cents a piece if you order 10 of them, link in the description, but delivery takes a week or two. In the meantime, I printed a replacement ring out of heat-resistant ABS, which has held up surprisingly well and completely corrected the grinding problem. With that, the auxiliary feeder saga reached a happy end. It works, kind of. Physically, it is now perfect, but it could be much more capable with better macros, which I'm happy to report 3D Print Demon has already created. We are in the process of installing his Demon Clipper Essentials Unified on our SV08 Max, which will automatically load and even fully unload the filament, taking full advantage of all the sensors and capabilities of this system. See this purge tray we printed out of ABS? It is also in preparation for the DKEU macros, which we will show off once we've had a chance to thoroughly test them. So, as you can see, there's a lot more coming. We've already received many meters of LED strips from AliExpress that we'll use to light up the printer behind the dark smoked glass doors. We'll show you the simple 80mm fan upgrade that makes the printer completely silent in idle mode. We're going to add the sand dampening and heat insulation foam tapes to the panels of the enclosure. We will be tearing down the printer completely to replace those base extrusions. And of course, as soon as the acrylic panels arrive from PCBWay, that riser is going on. Before we sign off, I have a quick question for you all. Have you noticed any improvement in the video quality in some of our newer footage, including the little snippets from our summer camp? That's because our sponsor, AliExpress, also sent us this new Insta360 ACE PRO 2. It has much better low light capabilities than our old GoPro, so it can finally replace the camera phone we were using for these types of shots. You might not have thought of it, but you can order branded action cams directly from AliExpress along with tons of practical accessories. We got a 1.5 meter long selfie stick from the brand Ulanzi that doubles as a lightweight camera stand. We also got various mounting aids, replacement batteries, external chargers, a protective camera case, and more. We'll tell you all about it in a future episode, so stay tuned for that. And be sure to stay subscribed so you don't miss any of these Max upgrades. Until then, check out the videos we mentioned, all included in our SV08 Max playlist, and the specific one featuring the Spool glider. And all of these are here to help you go print 3D. Thank you for being awesome and watching this gerGO Print 3D video all the way to the end. Stay creative.